Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about fire doors and fire doors inspection. At Loc-Doc, our mission is to help you protect your people and your property. We recently had a customer that contacted us about fire doors and fire doors inspections. I'm Zach Pfeiffer, this is Kevin Starr, and today we're going to go over a little bit about fire doors and fire door inspections. Kevin, what is a fire door?
Sure. So a fire door is a frame and a door that is designed to protect occupants of a facility in the case of an emergency or fire.
Nice. What is a fire door inspection?
So a lot of your commercial businesses and like office buildings and stuff like that, they go through routine inspections. Usually it's annually, where the fire marshal will come through and he'll take a look at all the registered openings in the facility and make sure that everything's up to snuff.
Okay, so with a fire door, you have multiple fire doors in a building, hundreds of fire doors in large buildings such as Uptown Charlotte.
Yeah.
How often do you go through those fire door inspections and make sure that everything's squared away?
Well, like I said, a lot of them, the fire marshal will come through annually, typically, take a look at everything. But there is a lot that you can do as a customer to kind of get yourself ready for these inspections and kind of find some problems before the inspector gets there.
Cool. So with a fire door, what are some complications that has to do with, a fire door not passing fire inspection? Like what would be considered something that would be wrong about that?
So there's like 4 or 5 kind of really hot spot issues that a lot of the inspectors are looking for, and a lot of them are visual, and it's very easy to spot if you have an issue. One of the easiest ones is the label itself. You need to make sure that the label is visible and legible on both the door and the frame. They're a matched pair. So if you have one but not the other, that's an issue. They both have to be rated, and both of those labels have to be visible and present.
So let's talk about the label. So what is the label on the door and the frame? What does it say? Is it on every single door? You're always going to find a label on every single door, or is it only fire doors you're going to find labels on?
You're not going to find labels on every single door. Usually you're only going to see a label if it's been tested. And when I say tested, there are 2 main laboratories that do this. That's Warnock Hersey and Underwriters Labs. And what they do is they will build a fire assembly, a door and a frame, and they will set fire on one side. And they will determine how long that opening can remain structurally sound with that fire burning on the other side. That's kind of where you get your ratings from. So you have anything from a 20-minute rated just for smoke all the way up to 3 hours.
Okay. So with that, with having the label on there, there's also concerns about, how the door latches or how it closes.
Those are 2 of the other main issues that a lot of the inspectors will look for. 2 components of a fire door inspections. In order for it to meet code, the door has to close on its own, unassisted, and it also needs to positively latch.
So I can't go up to the door, and every day when I leave, I walk up the door and I pull it closed to make sure it latches.
If you got to pull it shut, that's a problem.
Really?
That's a huge problem.
We need to work on that.
We do need to work on that. So one of the things especially with the closing is, the door may be closing and working fine right now, but one thing that a lot of people kind of miss is there oil on that door? Is the closer leaking? If the closer's leaking, it's on its way for replacement. And Murphy's Law, that thing's going to go down like the day before your inspector comes through, and you're going to get flagged for it.
It's going to come in and start slamming and
right.
But it closes.
But it does
though.
close, yes, as long as it closes under its own power. But you don't want it to slam because that's going to just create more issues with the door and the frame in the long run. So closing is one major issue. The other one, as you touched on, was latching. So basically that means that the latch needs to come into contact with the strike in the frame, and it needs to positively latch, meaning it closes all the way. You hear it click, and it's secured. Not necessarily locked.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Does it have to be locked for a fire door?
Not necessarily locked. It just needs to be secure.
Okay. Okay. So with being secure on fire doors, it's secure. Now we got it secure. Now we got it positively latching. And is there any other, if there's rust on the door or, there's an outlying problem there if you got rust on your door probably.
Absolutely.
Correct?
So the other 2 issues to kind of take a look at when you're visually kind of inspecting these openings is you're looking for structural damage to the door, the frame, and a lot of that, like you had mentioned, if it's a metal door, if you've got rust. Now, rust in and of itself is not necessarily an issue. Has the structural integrity of the door been compromised?
Okay.
And a lot of that is determined, honestly, by your AHJ or your authority having jurisdiction, which would be your inspector.
Okay.
They're going to kind of determine, hey, this is just a little bit of surface rust, not that big a deal, or you're going to have to get this fixed. Now, if it were me, if I've got rust on my door, I've got a water issue somewhere. I need to kind of solve that
definitely.
first. But with wood doors, you're looking at the veneer.
So what is a veneer?
So a veneer is a fire
wood,
door.
This is wood. We have a wood table here.
Wood.
Is this considered a veneer?
This
on the
is
table?
probably this may be actually
Stain.
solid, with a stain on there. But typically with your fire doors, they're filled with gypsum or drywall.
Okay, drywall.
So you have a drywall core and you have a very thin layer of wood veneer that is glued to the outside. So what you're looking for on a wood door is you're looking for cracking. You're looking to see if you can see the insulation on the inside. Is it separating from the rails? The other thing is you're looking for heavy damage to the door. When I say heavy damage, I mean big chips. Are there excessive, and this is for metal or wood.
Any door.
Any door.
Okay.
Are there large gaps in between the door and the frame? Is there any aftermarket hardware that was put on and then removed, and now you've got these big holes, in there?
So with a hole, you would, for a fire door, you wouldn't want really holes in your door because that means that fire is just going to come right through, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
And again, back to the laboratories and the testing that they do. In their scientific process, they have determined that hey, as long as the hole doesn't exceed 3/4 of an inch, the door is still structurally sound. It will still hold its rating. Anything beyond that is going to create an issue. A lot of times, what we actually get called out on site for is we'll have customers that they'll have a door. And hey, I want to put a light kit in this thing. Can you cut a light kit in this thing?
So
now,
what is a light kit? I think we talked about that on our previous discussion.
On a previous discussion, we were talking about glass and a light kit. So a light kit is a piece of glass in a door that allows you to see kind of through the other side.
Okay.
Now, you can get fire-rated doors with light kits in them. It's just they have to come from the factory that way. It's not something you can just cut a hole in the door.
So the glass is made to resist.
The actual door itself and the frame that holds the glass is made to resist fire.
Okay.
So those are.
So you can have fire doors with full light kits and half light kits.
They just have to come from the factory that way. It's not something that can be easily field modified. And that's another thing that the inspector could be potentially looking for. So
And you did say that typically you do a fire inspection once a year?
Annually, yes.
A year?
Usually, as a general rule of thumb, you're going to have an inspector come through once a year. But again, a lot of these things that we're looking for are mainly visual. It's something that you can easily do quarterly, if you wanted to. And what you're really doing is when that annual inspection comes, you're going to be saving yourself a lot of time and a lot of headache to kind of get on down the road.
Yeah, cool. Well, I think we answered those questions about what a fire door is and what a fire inspection. If they have any additional questions, how can they reach us or how can they get a hold of you to
Absolutely.
ask those questions?
So if you're looking for help with your fire door inspections, there are several independent contractors that can help you with that. We have 2 members of our team here that are certified door inspectors, and we can certainly help you with that. And if you need any information on that, you can get in contact with us at sales.locdoc.net.
Awesome. And if you'd like to read more about this, please visit our website at locdoc.net/help. Thanks and have a good day.
See you guys.